The next topic is High Courts. See, largely I'll be only discussing the factual part of High Court, because other than that, the factual introductory part. Okay. The other part, like jurisdiction of the High Court, is somewhat similar to the understanding of Supreme Court. The subject may change. Okay. So you just need to note down those original jurisdiction and all those points inside High Court, because there is nothing to actually discuss in philosophical or understand it in a philosophical basis. Got it? सर आप सो गए थे क्लास में क्या? Only in Article 21. Maneka Gandhi case, only Article 21, procedure established by law will be read as due process of law. Otherwise, we have taken procedure established by law from Japan, though it originated in Britain. ठीक है? चलो. So High Courts, you need to revise things. High Courts. So part 6 from Article 214 to Article 231 will deal with High Courts in the states of India. Okay. So High Courts operate below the Supreme Court and above the subordinate court. Remember the first diagram? Huh? Okay. The concept of High Court originated in 1862 during the colonial time, where 3 High Courts were given to the 3 large British provinces, that were Calcutta, Bombay and Madras. Later the Allahabad High Court was established. Okay, the 4th High Court. Anyways, you just need to remember these 3. Okay. The Constitution of India provides for a High Court for each state whose territorial jurisdiction is coterminous with the territory of the state. Now, in some special case, there can be extraterritorial jurisdiction also. In that case, the action must have an organic linkage between the 2 states. Okay. At present, there are 25 High Courts, out of which 3 High Courts have jurisdiction over more than 1 state or union territory, because the 7th Constitutional Amendment Act of 1956 empowers a High Court to even have the jurisdiction of more than 1 state and union territory. Right? So depending on the population also, there is no need of giving a High Court to a union territory, except Delhi and the union territory of Jammu and Ladakh. They share a High Court, right? The Constitution does not specify strength of a High Court. The Constitution does not specify, rather leave it to the discretion of the President. It means the executive at the center will decide the number of judges in the High Court. Okay. The salary and allowances are charged on consolidated fund of the state, and the pensions are charged on consolidated fund of India. क्यों बंद कराना है भाई? Appointment. Okay. So they are appointed. They are appointed by President. The judges of the High Court are appointed by President. Okay. For the Chief Justice of the High Court, the President consults the Chief Justice of India and the Governor of the state concerned. Okay. For other judges, other than the Chief Justice of the High Court, it will consult the Chief Justice of the High Court also. Now, remember, same analogy. Okay. So for other judges, the Chief Justice of the concerned High Court is also consulted. The second judge case, it gave the word consultation to conformity, remember? And the third judge case, which was a reference case, it gave the formal structure to the collegium, in which for appointment to judges of the High Court, the collegium was the CJI plus 2 senior most judges, which is 4 senior most judges in case of Supreme Court. याद रहेगा? What is the qualification? See, citizen of India, and then two qualification. One is judicial office in the territory of India and not state for 10 years. How many years? 10 years. Territory is India, position is judicial office, and the second is advocate of a high court or high courts in succession for what period? 10 years. So there is no provision of a good tenure of judges. Again the same thing, no minimum age. So no tenure mentioned, but the limit is mentioned, okay, until he attains the age of 62 years. In case of Supreme Court, 65 years. He can resign from his office by writing to President. Who is the appointing authority? President, not the governor. Remember, the governor is consulted. Okay. Removed from the office by the President on the recommendation of the Parliament, because the removal process of the judges of Supreme Court is equal to the removal process of judges of High Court. So again the same thing. Okay. Appointed as a judge of the Supreme Court. Acha, there is another condition, that is when he is appointed as a judge of Supreme Court or when he is transferred to another High Court, then he vacates the seat. Okay. Transfer of judges, there is another point in case of High Court, because we don't have more than one Supreme Court, so there is no transfer of Supreme Court judges, but there is transfer of High Courts. Now, President can transfer after consulting the Chief Justice of India. Who transfers? The President. After consultation with whom? The CJI. This is an exceptional measure. This transferring of judges from one court to another is an exceptional measure, and it is not a punishment. It is not a punishment that if you are not performing well here, then we'll transfer you to some other smaller state. That is not the case. Okay. Transfer is subjected to judicial review, but limited to the challenge of the transferred judge. It means there is judicial review. You can go to the court to appeal against this transfer, but who can go? Only the judge who has been transferred. No other party can go to the court and appeal on behalf of that person that the transfer is motivated or politically indulgent. The collegium must consult the Chief Justice of the High Courts before transferring it. Okay. So the one from where he is going to the one from where he is going, both the High Courts will be consulted before he or she is transferred. Okay. Like the temporary sitting, you will see two different kind of judges here. Okay. One is the additional judges and the other will be the acting judges. Now, who are the additional judges? So the President can appoint duly qualified person as additional judges. What is the age? 62 years, below 62 years, because the maximum period is 62 years only, maximum age is 62 years only, of a High Court for a temporary period not exceeding 2 years. So you cannot appoint a additional judge for infinite time. Rather, there's a time domain. What is that? Less than 2 years. Okay. When he can appoint? So when there is a temporary increase in the business of the court, or when the area of work in the High Court increases. Got it? So it depends on the amount of work which the High Court is doing. Got it? Okay. The second type of judges are acting judges. Okay. So again, the President can appoint a duly qualified person as an acting judge below the age of 62 years of a High Court when a judge of that High Court other than the Chief Justice is, number one, unable to perform the duties of the office due to absence or any other reason, and appointed to act temporarily as the Chief Justice of that High Court. In that case also there is a vacancy on that position. Okay, so then an acting judge will come into play. Got it? Two positions. See, for High Court, this is the factual thing. Other than that, the jurisdiction part, it is almost similar to Supreme Court, the philosophy. Only the facts would change. The subject would change for original jurisdiction. Okay. So read that part It's not very necessary, whether it is more important for the Supreme Court. Okay. The next are the tribunals. Okay. See, originally the constitution had no provision for the tribunals. Okay. The genesis of tribunal can be traced back to the French system or the continental law system. Okay, there are two law systems, common law system and continental law system. Common law system is something which was used by the Britisher because we were their colonial slaves. So we started following it because of our orientation with that. The other kind of law system was the continental law system, which was largely followed in the France, the country France. Now, this tribunal is a genesis of the continental law system, but we have brought in our constitution, which follows a common law system, by a constitutional amendment. Okay. So the part 14A talks about two articles, Article 323A and Article 323B, which talks about establishment of tribunal. The 323A talks about administrative tribunals and 323B talks about any other tribunal other than administrative tribunal, which are established by Article 323A. Okay. Now, when we talk about the administrative tribunals, there are a few things that you need to understand, which is also true for other tribunals as well. Okay. Number one, the Parliament to provide for the establishment of the administrative tribunal. Who will provide for the establishment? The Parliament. Second, what is the purpose? The purpose is adjudication of disputes relating to recruitment and condition of service of person appointed to public service of public authority bodies. Public authority bodies means the center, state, local bodies, public corporation, etc. Okay, so basically it is talking about the employees which are at these particular places, the center, the state, the local bodies, etc. Okay, the members of the tribunals are always drawn from both these sides, executive as well as judiciary. Okay, all right. They are guided by principle of natural justice and do not follow a rigid procedure of court of law wherein there is CRPC, CPC or Evidence Act or IPC, all those things. So because it follows principle of natural justice, so the adjudication is faster. Also, they deliver summary judgment, not the judgment that are, the judgment that are delivered by the constitutional courts. Okay, so they provide summary judgment, wherein the party can be represented either individually or through lawyer. Okay, but in case of court, you have to have a lawyer, because we have a adjudication system in which the two lawyers will adjudicate, and in between the judge will get to know what is happening and will rule. When we talk about judicial reform, we talk about a inquisitorial system that is followed in France, which is a little bit different from this adjudication system. In adjudication system, the judge has no role to play. He will just sit and listen to two people fighting, and within that argument, he'll get to know about the case and will give the verdict. But in case of an inquisitorial system, the judge will proactively involve himself even in the investigation process and will get to know the first-hand information of the case. Right? Summary judgment means something which is written in a very common language, very simply, and delivered on ground. Other than the way the Supreme Court delivers judgment in a very notified, codified way. Not like that. See, the whole purpose is to actually bring in simplicity in adjudication of disputes. So that's why summary judgment. That's why principle of natural justice and not following CRPC, CPC or evidence. Got it? Now the appellate jurisdiction is tribunal to High Court to Supreme Court. Okay. Earlier, before this Chandra Kumar case 1997, the the tribunal used to go directly to the Supreme Court. But if you'll see, the High Court were missed out. Now there were 2 points which were considered. Number one is judicial review is the basic structure of the Constitution. Now, being a part of basic structure of the Constitution it is the right of the Constitutional Court to go for judicial review. Now, High Court is a constitutional court. Now, if you are jumping from tribunal to High Court, you are actually leaving out the judicial review power of the High Court. Number one. And number two, a tribunal is a statutory body, whereas a High Court is a constitutional body.